Okay, so today we've got a 93 model Peterbilt 379. A customer's brought to me in my shop to have the front end checked out and possibly see about getting a DOT done. Some of the things that we found wrong with this, I just wanted to show you this morning. The first one's going to be this kingpin. The kingpin, as you should know by now, is in here. Okay. To check it, you set your dial indicator up on your axle and on the upper bushing, and then you'll move it to the lower bushing, and you're checking for no more than 15 thousandths movement. And if I can get this right where you can see it, you're going to push in and you're looking for 15 thousandths movement. Apparently my indicator's moved a little bit, so we'll reset to 0 so we can see it. And we've got right at 50 thousandths, 51 thousandths. And you can, this thing's so bad you actually don't need to set a dial indicator up, but just wanted you to see that. Another thing we found, we'll move to the other side of the truck. Here's the steering shaft. And again, I hope this will be a good picture. But you can see we've obviously got a seal leaking on the gearbox. But the steering U-joint has that much play in it, along with the shaft. And you can feel it as well as hear it. That's all bad. Another thing back here at the back of it, just by looking at it, you come back here to the alignment shims. I think I'm having trouble with the picture on this, but with the alignment shims, they've put them up here and they're loose. They go down in here, and I really don't know if you can see that or not, but they go in between the spring and the block. But big deal is they're loose, and somebody's even bent over one so the bolts wouldn't back out. Correct installation is up here in the front, and I know we can see this because the sun's not in my eyes, but you can see the alignment shim here goes between the bracket and this raises, or doesn't raise it, pushes and pushes the axle forward or back for axle alignment. You can look at the tires, you can see they're feathered front to back. That's going to be an axle alignment issue. Still, I can get a good picture of this if I can block the sun. There, now you can see it. See, these should go back there, but they've got them up here in front. They do absolutely nothing, and they're loose. And that's probably, there you can see them. Again, we've still got feathering. The brakes on this look good. The adjustment looks right. But again, the feathering in the tires. These are ultra high dollar tires. They're not going to last long like that. Another thing that we noticed, if you look right there, you see a fuel line held up by a piece of rope. That's very bad. Don't know who's trying to get away with that, but that's not even halfway right. Bear with me. Come in over here, look in right there, you see a chain holding up the exhaust. Now, who in their right mind would pass this under DOT? Kind of appalls me, but somebody did. The one big deal that's real important here, That chain comes off, it becomes a hazard to anybody driving near this truck. He actually did get a DOT in Louisiana, and the only thing that they wrote him up for was the fire extinguisher sitting in a box next to the driver's seat. It has to be securely mounted somewhere in the truck. It's crazy, isn't it? Let me get under. You start noticing things like this. The pull pin has been replaced with a valve in the bottom of the air tank, and instead of taking it out, they just left it here. A fuel line that was replaced, they left it out, or they replaced it and just left the old line hanging. There's another one right there. This truck's got a transmission oil cooler that if it was hooked up, it didn't work, but it's not hooked up. The lines are hanging down right there by the exhaust. Those two lines by the transmission, between the transmission and the exhaust, just hanging down. Somebody got real lazy. Exhaust bracket is broke. There's a chain for this side holding that exhaust up. The other side's broke, but there's nothing holding it up. Here's another fuel line that was replaced, just left dangling. You know, this stuff causes problems. And then right here is truly the only thing that's got me laying in the gravel and the mud. You see the shiny spot. This is your carrier bearing yoke off the front drive shaft right here. This is a U-joint, and you see the shiny spot all the way around right here. That means that cap's turning, and if the cap's turning, that means this is not tight. Now these bolts are tight. These two bolts are tight, but this is not tight enough to hold that U-joint in. And another deal is, let me get under here, hang on. Get a good picture. Right in here, you see the rust. Okay, that means that this nut's not tight. So this yoke is banging around. This U-joint cap's turning. We're going to need to replace the U-joint, the strap kit, probably the yoke, but definitely the nut. So I'll bet you if I can push up on this, you're going to see this thing turn or move. I'm not sure if you can see it, but you should be able to hear it. I wish I could get a good picture. Well, I probably didn't get a good picture, but it's definitely loose. But with that being clear, that's spinning, and with that being rusty, that's loose. And that's what that means. If you see the rust streaks on the wheel, you're going to get the same thing. This is interesting. He's complaining that his cab air ride doesn't work. He just had the airbags replaced. And there's his adjusting rod. It's got yellow zip ties on it. Don't know who uses yellow zip ties, but it's got yellow zip ties holding the rod on. The rod's it's just hanging there. It's not hooked up to the cab air ride. So it's just little stuff like this. If the dang thing's broke, fix it. Don't put a zip tie on it or baling wire or duct tape. Fix it right. That's all we ask. You know, he's going to pay you money that I know if you're working for somebody, you're going to be making whatever your hourly wage is, but he's paying that shop, you know, $60 to $100 an hour, and this is what we're doing. That's crazy, fellas.